In our video on Midnight in Paris, we talked about the artist's struggle to find something meaningful to say about life, and its inner struggle to live in the present all the 24 hours of the day. And in The Purple Rose of Cairo, which Woody Allen himself considered his best film, the story raises a question that always feels relevant. Why do we care about art in the first place? Cecilia was living in the middle of the Great Depression of 1929. And yet, all she wanted to do was go to the movies, watching the same film over and over again. She could hardly work, always distracted, lost in the dream world of celebrities. It got so bad she was eventually fired. Meanwhile, her real life was miserable. Her husband had given up on himself and took out his frustrations and weaknesses by beating her, spending the money she brought home, and even cheating on her, showing us the crisis of masculinity in men who abandoned responsibility and blamed the government for their own lives.
I've dreamed of having a white telephone.
Your dreams are my dreams.
My whole life I've wondered what it would be like to be this side of the screen.
With this in mind, one might say that going to the movies was bad for her. But actually, that's exactly the dichotomy the film is asking us to reflect on. Is trying to escape reality always a bad thing? Because so often, life feels like it has no meaning. We're surrounded by hardships, bad situations, selfish people, and weighed down by endless material worries. In the middle of this chaos of existence, we can easily lose touch with what real love is, with goodness, virtue, or even with the strength to keep fighting in our own lives. Because at the same time that art can become just a distraction, it can also fill the emptiness that our existence leaves us, offering consolation and hope to return to our world and become better. And that's exactly what Cecilia ends up doing, almost without realizing it, when she finally stands up to her husband, inspired and encouraged by the character from the movie.
You stood right up to him.
You inspired me.
It's no coincidence that, when the projection suddenly stops and the movie breaks down, the audience feels restless.
I saw the movie just last week. This is not what happened.
Where is the Tom Baxter character?
You'll get your money back.
I want what happened in the movie last week to happen this week. Otherwise, what's life all about anyway?
Because stories matter. They give us a framework to make sense of our own lives. Someone trapped in the prison of material life needs a story that points beyond that prison. Good art offers stability amid the chaos of life. It guides us with good references. After all, if a story has no clear script and no sense of cause and effect, how could we ever learn to navigate our own life story? This disillusionment with reality, and the dichotomy between fiction and real life, takes on a new dimension when Tom Baxter, the fictional character who steps off the screen into the real world, uses art to teach and reveal to real humans the shallow, chaotic lives they were living. Cecilia, for example, kept her head in the clouds, escaping into the movies. But it is precisely through her encounter with a fictional character that she gains the courage to confront her own life and will realize how much her marriage was a farce. Tom Baxter also shows the prostitutes who thought they were free but lived only for sex that true freedom isn't doing whatever you want for the sake of pleasure, but fulfilling your purpose, giving life to others, serving others.
The absolutely astonishing miracle of childbirth, with all its attendant feelings of humanity and pathos. I stand in awe of existence.
In the same way, Tom sees Cecilia in a way no one else ever did, seeing her as good and with depth and genuine qualities of kindness within her. In other words, cinema, like all story, by selecting pieces of reality, shaping it into a stable flow of action, with defined characters and a world that makes sense. Through this structure, the very way and form of the work of art comforts us, enriches our imagination, and most importantly, helps us see the chaos of our own lives with new meaning, providing a new way for people to see their own life and read up to the fullness of reality. At the same time, even though it helps so many people, art is paradoxically created by producers who only think about money, or by actors who, while playing brave and noble characters on screen, in real life are nothing but scoundrels, caring only about fame, success, and fortune. This duality also exists in our own lives. The most artificial life wasn't Cecilia's, lost in the movies, but the very people in Hollywood. They had nothing real or substantial, only fame, money, empty ambitions of success and glory, living for applause and talking endlessly about themselves. Cecilia, on the other hand, though distracted and with her head in the clouds due to the though reality, was a genuinely good person, working hard and trying to serve. However, as disappointing as our reality can seem, fictional characters don't have the greatest human attribute, freedom. Tom Baxter steps out of the screen into the real world, but he doesn't know how to deal with the chaos and unpredictability of life. He's limited, bound to a script, because as every fictional character, he only exists within the imagination of his creator. It is no coincidence that Baxter himself was chasing the Purple Rose of Cairo, a treasure never found.
An old legend that's fascinated me for years. A pharaoh had a rose painted purple for his queen, and now the story says purple roses grow wild at her tomb.
How romantic.
In truth, the character, created by Woody Allen, reflects the author's own drama, the endless search for a jewelry, something more in life, that never seems to be fulfilled. On the other hand, it's precisely in this agony of having, as human beings, the freedom to live all 24 hours of the day, in the middle of this mess and chaos that is the real world, where people are not predictable, where the world is not stable, where the relation between cause and effect is not always clear, and we are subject to storms, setbacks, and sudden changes in reality. In these moments, of course, reality may feel like a burden. And it is precisely here that fiction once again becomes an instrument for us to orient ourselves within this world. The thing is, instead of being distracted by the artificial lives of actors, we must know how to use art. A good story can inspire us to go back to reality, to face it with meaning. Escape is not the problem, if we come back renewed, ready to live better. Of course, if we're not open to the fullness of reality, we can look at the rashness of life and sink into discouragement, unable to find meaning.
I have to have some time with you to show you what real life can be like if two people really care for each other.
Last week I was unloved. Now 2 people love me.
Rarely do we meet in real life people who are as good as the ones in fiction. For example, Gil Shepard, the actor who played Tom Baxter, could move Cecilia with his talent on screen. Yet, in real life, he was selfish, manipulative, and left her behind to chase the false glory of Hollywood. This should make us reflect. If someone selfish can impact others, what about us, who can choose to be good, to serve, and to contemplate others with a loving gaze? It is up to us, inspired by art and its fictional characters, return to reality and live it out, making love and transcendence real through our daily conduct.
Go with a real guy, honey. We're limited.
Go with Tom. He's got no flaws.
And as Cecilia's choice reminds us, reality can be painful, full of falsehood, suffering that seems meaningless, and disappointment. But it is the only place where life unfolds. Fiction strengthens us so we can go back renewed and consoled, ready to live our real life with love, care, and dedication to our ordinary life. That's the real paradoxical advantage of exist and have freedom. The human capacity to, nourished by good art, turn reality into something good and beautiful, bringing hope and consolation to others, we ourselves being the very reflection of beauty. In this way, our lives can reflect a deeper glory, one that's only seen when we look toward transcendent elements, not just on the screen, but in the warmth of genuine human love, making even harsh reality into something lovable. Because what the screen can only dream, we can live, when we truly care for one another. Our daily ordinary life is not fictional, but every day we can make it a great epic story too. Cinema may enchant us, but only love poured into the ordinary can transform the prose of everyday life into heroic poetry.